The chair now recognizes Ms. Amy O. Cooke, Chief Executive Officer for the John Locke Foundation.
Thank you. Chair Porter and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to be with you today and to provide some comments. My name is Amy Cooke. I'm the CEO of the John Locke Foundation, a state-based free market think tank headquartered in Raleigh, North Carolina. Prior to joining Locke, I held various positions, including directing energy and environmental policy at a sister think tank in Colorado. I have a journalism degree from the University of Missouri-Columbia and a master's degree in American history from the University of Northern Colorado. Love for the First Amendment drew me to journalism. Fear of losing it drew me to public policy. I agree with Jimmy Lai, a newspaper publisher currently imprisoned by the Chinese government for advocating for democracy. He said, "More information is freedom." Americans, including those in the energy and environmental policy space, are rightfully troubled by the growing threat that their speech will be shut down by those who sit in politically powerful positions. My expertise is energy policy, and what I've found in over a decade of energy policy research is that all debates distill down to trade-offs. It's the responsibility of public policy organizations, such as mine, to tell the truth about those trade-offs, putting a face on those trade-offs so that people, including media influencers, legislators, voters, and the general public, have all the information they need to make informed public policy decisions. I've been on the ground working with those who have concerns and stories to tell regarding these trade-offs. They have a right to tell their story, and the public has a right to hear them, but they're often shut out or marginalized by legacy media, big tech, and government. And as an example, let's just take the regulatory space at the Colorado Public Utilities Commission. Insiders have stakeholder meetings that include only themselves, not ratepayers. They enter into a settlement that forces ratepayers to pay more, greatly impacting their families and businesses. And that's why I got involved in a utilities carbon reduction plan at the PUC. A small group of businesses felt that their voice wasn't being heard by the very commission that is supposed to represent them. The barriers to entry in a regulatory proceeding are quite high. A challenging filing system, lack of affordable counsel and witnesses, and for the privilege of petitioning your government, it can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so in a meaningful way. Another example is a ballot measure I worked on. There were decent, hardworking Coloradans who wanted voters to know what a de facto ban on hydraulic fracturing would do to their livelihoods, their families, their businesses, and communities. We provided an outlet for people like Raul, a welder, and a young female firefighter, just to tell their stories. And they explained what the trade-off of a 2,500-foot setback would look like for them. And in a recent energy policy debate in North Carolina, we didn't argue about the policy of zero carbon. Instead, we provided expert analysis for the most efficient and reliable way to get there. Our report supplied the foundational building blocks for what ultimately became the final version of a bipartisan bill titled Energy Solutions for North Carolina. And at a time when we are putting increasing demands on our grid with electric vehicle mandates and new building codes, we need to look no further than California and Texas to see that those trade-offs are not always wise. Trading reliability and quality power for non-dispatchable sources is detrimental to the grid and, more importantly, to ratepayers. American voters deserve access to the facts so they can decide for themselves, and our First Amendment ensures that they can. And while we are here having policies or hearings to police debate of energy policy, real problems need to be solved. Gas prices are still far too high. Ratepayers are forced to pay for an unreliable and inferior product due to bad policy decisions from the past, which is really what we should be discussing. So what should we be doing? Well, we should be expanding our energy infrastructure, encouraging domestic energy production, rewarding reliability and resiliency. And for a path to zero emissions, follow North Carolina's lead on HB 951. And most importantly, creating an atmosphere that respects the First Amendment and fosters civil debate. In closing, there's really good news about energy. We don't have to choose between a clean environment and quality of life. Thanks to Americans' innovative and entrepreneurial spirit, we've demonstrated we can develop our resources wisely, provide clean, safe power, and be energy dominant, free from dependence on hostile regimes that may threaten our national security. I trust Americans to put good policy ahead of partisan ideology. Thank you so much.